Of course I want as much medical care as possible. What could be the downside?
Oh, there are a ton. For starters, how about the fact that this place rips off folks like you every day?
Whatever. I know the hospital is expensive, but it is worth it if I get the best treatment.
No, it isn't. American healthcare is not the best in the world, but despite that, we spend more per person annually on healthcare than any other developed nation. And a big part of the reason for that is that American hospitals overcharge patients massively. This neck brace is worth $20, but the hospital charged him $154. This IV bag costs less than $1, but she was charged $137. These are real prices, folks.
Hold up. Wildly inflated healthcare costs? This sounds like the work of politicians to me. Was it Obamacare? Trump aid? McConnell meds? What did you do?
I'm not a politician. I'm just a boring white guy. Why does this keep happening?
Sorry, Rachel, but this time it's not the politician's fault. The problem starts with something called the chargemaster. The chargemaster is a secret document full of insane prices that hospitals use to charge us whatever they want. Let's go on a trip through the history of medical billing.
Wow, I'd rather not.
100 years ago, hospital pricing was pretty simple.
We take the cost of providing care and add a little on top to make a profit. One amputation costs us $5, so we'll charge you $6.50.
But after the rise of insurance companies, hospital billing got complicated, in part because these gigantic corporations demanded gigantic discounts.
We send you thousands of patients every day, so we want half off all your prices.
We can't afford that.
So to please these powerful insurance companies, hospitals cooked up a plan.
I've got it. We'll make up a really high fake price and then give you a discount off that.
Hey, as long as I get to tell my boss we got it cheaper.
And in less than a century, healthcare prices went from reasonable to nonsensical.
Let's make one Tylenol $37. 3 stitches, $2,200. Ooh, here's a pitch. What if we made rectal exams $69? Nah, that's too silly even for me.
These crazily inflated prices are kept in the hospital's chargemaster. It's actually a computer file, but the book is more dramatic.
$7 for a single alcohol swab? That's ridiculous.
And true.
Well, I only pay my premium. If they want to rip off my insurance company with their fake prices, what do I care?
If you ever lose insurance, you'll care. Because here's the really evil part. If you don't have insurance, you actually get charged these fake prices.
Let's see, heart x-rays. That'll be $33,000.
I can't afford that.
No problem, we'll just garnish your wages.
Oh, bogus.
Wait, they actually charge people without insurance fake prices?
Yeah.
This is terrible. Well, thankfully, I have insurance, so the chargemaster doesn't affect me.
Unfortunately, it does.
Even if you're insured, you can get billed chargemaster prices if you go out of network. And anything can be out of network. The hospital you go to, the equipment used to treat you, even the doctors you see.
Aero specialist, out of network, I'm very expensive.
Hospitals make a ton of money overcharging out-of-network patients. It's a real cash cow, and we all get milked.
Worse, every hospital has its own chargemaster. A treatment that costs $7,000 at one hospital could cost $100,000 down the road.
And you can't comparison shop when you're dying.
Which hospital you want, Moneybags Medical or St. Vincent's Discount Sick House? Moneybags it is.
Plus, since your insurance company faces inflated costs, that can trickle down to you in the form of higher premiums.
Oh, surprisingly painless.
Wait till you get the bill.
How do they get away with this?
Simple. The healthcare industry spends more on lobbying than the oil and defense industries combined.
Thanks, Doc. I'll take care of you real nice. Say, does this cyst look normal?
Oh, God.
So how can I stop it? What do I do?
Honestly, nothing. We need to go to the hospital, so they have no incentive to change how they do business. And politicians have spent decades arguing over how to pay the bill instead of asking why the bill is so high. Until they do, we're stuck with this system.
God, what if I get fired and lose my insurance? I would be ruined. Oh, I feel so anxious.
Rachel, the doctor will see you now, down the hall and to your left.
Well, then, if I'm gonna get ripped off, I might as well score some antibiotics. I want to be done with this cold, and those miracle drugs are worth whatever they cost.
Even if it means the end of modern medicine?
You are the worst person I have ever met, and I work in finance.
Harsh.
Well, take it from me, dating sucks. That's why I bit the bullet and paid for this dating site. They use science to match you with a guy worth your time.
Yes, sites like eHarmony and Chemistry.com certainly love to advertise that their methods are scientific.
At eHarmony, we use a scientific system to help you find someone who's looking for someone like you.
But their claims to be scientific are straight up baloney.
Where'd you get baloney?
Oh, I brought it from home in case it wasn't on the menu.
But it's not baloney. Didn't you listen to the ad? They have algorithms and formulas, and the old guy seems super sciencey.
Yes, he certainly does seem that way.
I'm Dr. Neil Clark Warren, and don't I look like some kind of well-meaning love grandpa?
Yes, you do. I trust you, love grandpa.
Dr. Warren founded eHarmony after working as a marriage counselor and self-help author.
That's how I came up with our super scientific system.
The problem is, he's not a scientist. We looked and we couldn't find a single scientific article written by Dr. Warren on relationships, compatibility, or marriage published in a peer-reviewed journal.
Didn't have time. Too busy getting my cheeks dimpled.
And there has never been a single independent peer-reviewed study testing eHarmony's algorithm.
Well, then let's get those peers reviewing.
They would love to, but they can't because eHarmony keeps their exact algorithm a secret.
Come on, let me in. If it's scientific, why can't we study it?
Sorry, bud. Just trust me. We're a for-profit company.
But we're #1 in most marriages, most enduring marriages,
And the Better Business Bureau told you those claims were misleading and to stop saying them. The fact is, without peer review, any claims made about eHarmony's secret algorithm are unverifiable, unscientific baloney.
That's salami.
Oh, sorry, I ate all the baloney.
Well, I guess I'll just use other sites like Match or OkCupid.
Oh, in the interest of full disclosure, the production company that makes this show is a corporate sibling of Match and OkCupid. And OkCupid is so public about their algorithm, their founder actually wrote on their company blog, OkCupid doesn't really know what it's doing. Neither does any other website. In other words, they're winging it. Early video games like Pong were totally unisex.
Am I a boy dot or a girl dot?
You're just a dot.
Ow, 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 ow.
In fact, the game was marketed to the entire family.
What about Pac-Man? He was a boy.
True, but the game was so popular with women that when it came time for a sequel, the developers gave it a female main character, Ms. Pac-Man.
Aw, yeah, I'm spooky.
Not Mrs., Ms. She was a modern 80s career woman.
I have an MBA in eating ghosts.
Waka, 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 waka.
Ah! She's so confident.
And not only was much of the audience female, many of the developers were too. Among the stars of early game design were Atari's Carol Shaw, Centipede creator Donna Bailey, and Roberta Williams, an adventure game pioneer and company co-founder, whose King's Quest series was a massive hit among gamers of all stripes.
Cool, seems like everything's great. Can I play my game now?
Nope, because all of that changed thanks to the video game crash of 1983. Greedy publishers started flooding the market with shoddy games like I Want My Mommy, Lost Luggage, and E.T. for the Atari 2600, which has been called one of the worst games of all time.
Yuck! I'll play anything, and even I know that's a turd.
Most adults stopped playing games entirely, and the video game market cratered. So when it came time to market the original Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo devised a plan. Instead of selling it in the electronics section, they sold it in the toy aisle. But by then, the toy aisle was completely separated into pink and blue, boy and girl. Nintendo had to choose a side. They went with boy, and then they marketed to those boys relentlessly.
What's it like to play the Nintendo Entertainment System?
Other brands soon followed suit.
Introducing Game Gear from Sega that separates the men from the boys.
And kept marketing to them as they grew up.
It's not the size of your howitzer, it's what you do with it.
I got this pulling a 360 stalefish.
I know you like that. I know you love that.
It's all about the control.
You are so totally whipped.
Come and play with me.
And after decades of this kind of advertising,
what's up, bitch?
We now think of video games as being the exclusive domain of the male sex.
Okay, those ads are weird, but boys just like video games more than girls do.
Sorry, Jake, that's a straight up myth. More adult women play video games than teenage boys do.
Sweet.
That's just counting stupid phone games.
So? Games are games, Jake. All that means is that mainstream consoles like PS4 and Xbox One are refusing to serve a huge untapped market.
Untapped market.
We're talking millions of women who would love to play more games, but are being pushed away from the hobby by weird, old-fashioned marketing that publishers are sticking with seemingly out of sheer force of habit.
Force of habit.
Ow, who's doing that? Why are you hurting me, Megan?
Because I'm mad at you. I like games. I've always liked them. It's just sometimes I feel like they don't love me back. You act like I'm not supposed to play them or something just because you listen to all these stupid ads.
Jake, video games are the greatest new art form of the century. They can do anything. Saying they're for just one gender is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like saying movies are just for girls or books are just for dads. It's stupid.
When we think about video games in such a limited way, it makes the games worse, it loses the industry money, and it's really mean to your sister.
Just wait, he'll burn out in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, I've seen this before.
I see the look in your eyes. My hands are shaking. I don't know why. I feel as if I know you in another life.
Oh my God, this is so cool.
More like so corporate. Is this a music video or a Hulko commercial?
Dad, stop.
A real artist wouldn't sell out like this. They'd be all about the music.
Actually, while artists are still making music, that is not how they make their money anymore. Nowadays, if you want to earn a living as a musician, you pretty much have no choice but to sell out.
Cut! Lisa, baby, if you're gonna add another band member, you have to tell me.
Taking 5.
Oh, great. That'll give me time to explain. Can I get playback? Back when people were buying physical CDs, there was a ton of money to be made for the labels and for the artists. But the rise of streaming services like Spotify, Pandora, and Apple Music have changed the industry. In 2017, music sales revenue was just 60% of what it was in 1999.
I'm super convenient, but I do not pay well.
Every time one of their songs is played on Spotify, artists only earn around 1/10 of 1 cent.
Cool. That'll cover my rent for the next 3 seconds.
See, Jordan, this is why I support our local record store. Streaming is killing the music industry.
Actually, that's not true at all. Streaming may be screwing the artists, but the labels have figured out how to make bank off of it. When early internet services offered illegally downloaded music, everyone took a hit. But then the labels started cutting contracts licensing their entire catalogs for streaming. And streaming is now their biggest source of revenue. While their profits aren't quite back to what they were in the 90s, they're bouncing back at a rate of $1 billion per year. The only problem? Artists are not getting a fair cut of those deals. Even Beyonce, one of the biggest musicians in the world, only makes 10% of her money off of music sales.
Yeah, but she tours all the time. That's how a real artist makes their living, by getting out in front of the fans.
Actually, unless you're as huge as Beyonce, it's pretty much impossible to make any money off of touring either. The top 40 live acts can make up to 80% of their income from touring, but everyone below the top 40 is lucky if their tours even break even.
The tour was a huge success. Now, after we recoup all the production, travel, and crew expenses, you owe the label 20 grand.
What? Since it's so hard to make money off of record sales or touring now, many mid-level artists these days can only earn a living by taking endorsement deals or appearance fees.
You guys look great. Now just a few small adjustments.
Jessie J has deals with vitamin water.
Drink up.
Pitbull endorses Sheets energy strips.
Say ah.
And tons of artists get paid just to show up at events.
And not too much dancing. You need to save your energy for Justin Bieber's cousin's yacht christening.
This is embarrassing. How can these artists even stand to look at themselves in the mirror?
Maybe it's because they're trying to eat. Oh, I'm not stealing these. The director said I could have them.
This is Open Mike Eagle. He's an indie hip-hop artist, comedian, and one of my closest friends. Thanks for coming through, fam.
Adam, I barely know you. I'm gonna keep it real with you guys, though. A lot of fans want their favorite artists to be authentic. When it comes to making money as a musician, it's almost impossible without these endorsement deals and licensing opportunities. And truthfully, only the most popular artists get offered these things in the first place.
Most endorsement opportunities go to more established celebrities, even when they barely make music anymore. In 2017, the highest paid musician was Diddy, thanks to his 8-figure deal with Ciroc Vodka. But he hadn't made an album in over 7 years. More like mo money, less albums, right, Mike?
Sure, dude. The reality of working as a musician today is this. It took me nearly 10 years to make the same yearly salary as a musician as I did as a teacher. I don't know if I'd be able to make music professionally and eat without additional streams of income. It all goes into building my brand and helps me be able to make a living.
In a perfect world, artists would be paid fairly for making their art. But unfortunately, that's just not the way the music industry works.
Oh, shoot. I'm late for an audition. Your boy's gonna be the face of Hulko Pizza Scones.
But that's bull. Music shouldn't be so commercial. F the industry! F the Hulko Pups and the labels and all of it!
Dad, what are you doing? Okay, the Zydepops are trying to cultivate more of a mid-90s vibe, and trashing the set is so early 70s.
Your entire show is built around the idea that if you present someone with better information, you can change their mind. But the surprising truth is, disproving a misconception can actually strengthen a person's belief in that misconception. It's called the backfire effect. The more you prove someone wrong, the more they think they're right.
That can't be true. I change people's minds every day.
You just proved my point. I presented you with information that goes against your thinking, and you just dug right into your beliefs. One study found that when people concerned about side effects of the flu shot were informed it was safe, they actually became less willing to get it.
But that's so illogical. How is that possible?
Because when you try to change someone's mind, the other person often feels attacked. Being proven wrong actually activates the same area of the brain as real physical pain. World star.
Stay with me, kid. Her right hook will hurt you, but her right facts will too.
Being proven wrong hurts so much, it often causes a fight or flight response.
I gotta get out of here!
Nope. You need to hear this.
Why am I reacting like this? Normally, I love learning new things.
Simple. You're protecting your identity. It's called identity protective cognition.
Listen, Drew Carey, all you adults always tell us the same thing. Weed's gonna kill us. It's a gateway drug. Vine isn't funny.
Oh, no. For most people, weed is essentially harmless.
Oh, okay. No way, Jose. Look, I know this stuff is a little overboard, but you can't tell kids weed isn't bad.
Of course I can. It's true. And we've known it for decades. Counting deaths from the substance alone, alcohol kills 88,000 people a year. Tobacco kills 480,000. And marijuana kills absolutely no one.
According to curriculum, marijuana can get you hooked on harder substances. It's a gateway drug.
Yeah, educators have been saying that for years, but it's not true. Most people who try marijuana don't even continue smoking marijuana.
This dude knows what's up.
Now, that doesn't mean that it's perfectly safe.
Dude, I thought you were cool.
Oh, I wish. If you're under 25, smoking weed can lead to memory problems and poor cognitive functioning. But if you're an adult and your brain is finished developing, it's really your choice.
Adam, wrong way. Also, not in a school.
Sorry, I usually only smoke at parties, and I'm rarely invited to them.
I wonder why.
The truth is, if you know the risks and you use it in moderation, weed is no big deal. And in fact, humans have been using it for millennia. Humans started growing cannabis as a crop over 8,000 years ago.
This crop will feed our family for a year. And this crop
will make movies way funnier.
In 440 BCE, Herodotus wrote about the ancient tradition of cannabis steam baths.
Fellow citizens, as a wise man once told me, vape life.
And in America, for many years, marijuana was available in over-the-counter medications.
Step right up and try Professor Holcorium's rejuvenating tincture. Now with the Arab hashish.
For most of America's history, weed was legal. No one cared about it.
Wait, so what changed? I mean, there must be some reason we banned it.
Oh, there is, and it's real weird. Enter Harry Anslinger, Commissioner of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics and a staunch prohibitionist.
Our funding has been cut. They'll shut me down if I don't find a new chemical to demonize. Let's see. What are people scared of for no good reason? Aha! Mexicans! And Mexicans smoke marijuana. That's it. Hey, racist mob! Marijuana makes Mexicans thirst for white blood. Spread the word.
Anslinger used that racism to fuel a propaganda campaign against the drug, testifying before Congress.
Marijuana is an addictive drug which produces in its users insanity, criminality, and death.
Soon, the marijuana causes violence meme was everywhere, from newspapers to movies.
Just a young boy. Under the influence of the drug, he killed his entire family with an axe.
To subtle political cartoons.
Nazi propaganda.
What does that even mean? Why would he just say the words Nazi propaganda?
Honestly, no idea. But it worked. In 1937, Congress banned marijuana, and later, with Anslinger's help, they passed the first mandatory minimum sentencing laws, which made it so that your first time getting caught with this could put you away from 2 to 10 years.
Thank you, that's what I thought.
And the true irony is, the government knew Anslinger's claims were false. Scientists proved marijuana wasn't connected to violence or insanity in the 40s. And in 1973, a bipartisan commission recommended Nixon decriminalize it. But Nixon being Nixon...
Mr. President, literally everyone agrees. Marijuana is safe.
Out! Get out! I have zero chill. The war on drugs begins now.
I don't understand. If he knew it was safe, why would he be so tough on it?
Well, why don't you ask Nixon's aide, John Ehrlichman? He said in 1994...
We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black. But by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and blacks with heroin, and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did.
That's a real quote.
Yeah, that's a real quote. Nixon started the war on drugs to bully his political enemies and minorities. His own aide admitted it.
I can't believe I've been teaching this to children. At least it's better now, right?
You wish. Despite laws being loosened in a few states, mandatory minimums are still in effect all across the country, and marijuana still accounts for nearly half of all drug arrests. And despite the fact that white and black people smoke at basically the same rate, black people are 4 times as likely to be arrested for marijuana. Look, we know for a fact that weed isn't dangerous, but we're still following racist old laws and throwing countless people of color in prison for no reason.
Listen up! Everything this barf boy told you is wrong and will kill you!
Well, we actually have fact checkers.
Shut it, barf boy! Before you barf everywhere! Drugs aren't cool! DARE says so!
Oh, the DARE program. That was a massive failure that may have actually increased drug use.
Told you he was a barf boy.
Hey, Vanessa, $35K a year, not bad. Megan, ooh, 70, good going. Bob, 6 figures, very impressive. And Charles, $6? You only make $6 a year?
Asking for a raise is mean.
Stop this right now, Adam. You can't discuss salaries openly like this.
Why not?
Because it's illegal.
No, it definitely isn't. The right to share your salary is protected by the National Labor Relations Act. Employees have the right to engage in, ugh, man, this comic's boring. You get the idea. And being public with your salary actually benefits you. So, without further ado...
No! I mean, even if it's legal, it makes me really uncomfortable.
Exactly. Americans have an enormous taboo against talking about money. Most people would rather discuss their sex lives than their salaries.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, that's where I enjoy fingers during intercourse.
Oh, fascinating. Say, how much money do you make?
Oh, how dare you?
Oh, God. But all that taboo does is take power away from the employee and give it to the company.
But if people know how much money I make, they'll resent me. I mean, they'll know that I'm filthy, stinking middle class.
No, they won't. They'll resent the company. Look, here's what you think will happen if you share your salary.
I make $85,000 a year.
You dickhead. You should make less money.
And here's what would actually happen.
I make $85,000 a year.
You dickhead. I should make more money.
Bosses like Benny love it when you keep your salary a secret because it tilts pay negotiations in their favor. It's a concept called information asymmetry. If you don't know what the going rate is for your salary, it's easier for the company to rip you off.
I can only offer you $100 a day.
I guess that's what everyone here makes.
And this perpetuates the pay gap. For instance, African American women make 64 cents for every dollar the average white guy makes.
I can only offer you $64 a day.
I guess that's what everybody here makes.
The bottom line is, if you don't have all the information, you could get scammed big time.
We can only offer you $6 a year.
I guess that's what everyone here makes.
Buddy, how do you survive?
I live here.
Discussing your salary with your coworkers is your right as an employee. When you let these guys stop you from doing it, you push your own wages down, which means you're spending more years of your life slaving away in a job that doesn't pay you what you're really worth.
You're right. All of this is a waste of time.
You're saying all these people are wasted and it's not even 5 o'clock? It's a joke.
Stop trying to lighten the mood with your fantastic boss humor. This is all your fault. My name is Shayna Monroe, and I make $30,000 a year.
My name is Becca Neeson, and I make $40,000 a year.
My name is Charles Wickett. I make $6 a year, and I demand a raise. Please.
I want a raise too.
Viva la revolución!
Yes, share your salaries with the world. Negotiate for better wages. You can achieve informational symmetry, for knowledge is power.
Stop right there!
Everybody loved me.
I was a good boss, and you destroyed everything, Adam. Now you pay.
Don't do it, Benny. I bruise easily. Here's the problem with canned food drives. First, you should know that 1 in 7 Americans rely on food pantries to help feed their families.
Exactly. Hunger is a real problem.
Yes, but canned food drives are a terrible solution. You know the first thing the food pantry does with our old cans? They throw half of them out. We tend to use food drives to clean out our cabinets, which means we only donate the food that's so old and gross, even we won't eat it.
Loose candy corn. Poor will eat it.
Others buy food at full retail price, picking out cans as though they were the needy's personal shopper.
Do the poor like original or bold and spicy? Original. They're not fancy.
Okay, but they're still chipping in free food.
Yeah, dream on, lady. Free?
Somebody has to pay to haul all of this stuff to a warehouse.
Oh my God.
And someone has to sort and throw out all the expired cans.
And plus, canned food is high in sodium, which causes high blood pressure.
Well, that's an exaggeration. Your heart wouldn't literally explode. Great work, Tony. But it is true that nearly half the food we donate doesn't meet basic nutritional standards.
Okay, so what kind of food do pantries need?
I don't know. What do you eat?
Me? Oh, well, I really like fruits and veggies. I eat a lot of salads. Oh, and I try to eat lean meats, you know, chicken and turkey and stuff like that. And I just love a loaf of fresh, crusty bread.
Exactly, but you can't donate any of those foods because they're all perishable. Genevieve, would you tell Emily why canned food drives suck?
Canned food drives don't suck, but they're not the most efficient way to give.
Oh, you run a food bank, don't you?
Yeah, I do. The truth is, the best way to help a food bank is to donate money, because we buy food on a wholesale level and we work with farmers, so we can take the dollar that you might spend on a single can of beans and turn it into exponentially more food.
Hey there, folks. I got a delivery here for $1 worth of food. I mean, comically large amount of food.
All right, health class. What's in the lesson plan tomorrow, Teach?
I'm teaching them about herpes.
Oh, about how herpes isn't a big deal and people don't really need to worry about it?
What? No, about how herpes is super serious and very dangerous.
Herpes isn't dangerous. Most of the time, it's not even noticeable.
Oh, no, you don't, buddy, because I actually know what I'm talking about this time. I even made a video about it to teach my students.
Oh, cool. Let's watch it.
Yeah, let's. I know this is a trap, but I'm very confident.
Hey kids, DJ Murph here. I'm gonna use this to apply to film school.
You totally should.
And I'm here to talk to you about herpes. It is a serious, sexually transmitted disease.
Wow, herpes, that sounds scary. I'm a teen.
Disease. It is. Just ask Herpes, the terrifying genital herpes virus.
4 out of 5 people who carry me don't know they have it. I cause an eruption of red sores around your genitals, and I'm incurable.
Great special effects.
George Lucas is a big influence on my work.
Wow, it sounds like herpes is terrible. Me and my bae better not be having sexual intercourse.
I wouldn't say that, but I would rap it. Herpes! No! Don't! Stop! No! Don't! Herpes is for derpies. Herpes, yo! It ain't chill. You can't cure it with a pill. 1 in 6 Americans carry herpes in their pants.
These scare tactics are full of crap.
This is getting good.
It's time for you two to learn what herpes is really like. Ready to show them herpes?
I'm really not so bad, buddies. Whee!
Did you just give us herpes for real?
Yep, you're welcome.
What the actual hell? You just gave us a serious disease.
No, I didn't. I gave you herpes. Let's break it down. Okay, starting from the top. Eruptions of sores? That's scaremongering. Let's call them what they are, little red bumps.
Sounds gross.
Yeah, except you're already covered with little red bumps. Mosquito bites, ingrown hairs, pimples. To be human is to be covered in little red bumps, yo.
It's true, I do have back knee.
Yo, you got Conover. Secondly, the reason 4 out of 5 carriers don't know they have it is because they either have no symptoms or their symptoms are so mild they never notice. And nearly everyone has it. If you include oral herpes, worldwide, nearly 90% of the global population carries some strain of herpes. What? And that means if you don't have it, you're the weird one. You're the weird one. Oh, stop it! Stop it! I don't play basketball.
Nah, I straight up don't believe you. You're not a doctor.
Oh, neither are you. You're a gym teacher. This is a doctor.
Oh my God.
Guys, this is Dr. Jennifer Lang, a board-certified OBGYN.
Hey, guys.
Thank God. This guy just gave us herpes. What's gonna happen to us?
Probably not a lot. Most people don't even develop symptoms. Some people might have a mild rash around the mouth or genital region, maybe some red or white bumps. The truth is, if you're not immunocompromised or in the late stages of pregnancy, you really don't have to worry about it. Most sexually active adults are gonna be exposed to herpes at some point in their life. It's really not a big deal. That's what I tell my patients.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Oh my God.
Ow.
Sorry guys, I'll just be a few. I don't want to scare any children with these Sasquatch legs. Yep, people definitely get judgy about women's leg hair.
But the fascinating thing about shaving is almost no one did it regularly at home until about 100 years ago.
Emily, is this some sort of purge shit? Oh, no, don't worry. Me and Adam do this all the time.
Before the safety razor was invented in the early 1900s, shaving with a straight razor was a dangerous chore. So most men either went to a barber or didn't shave at all.
No, I can't do it. I've got a family.
But all that changed when a man named King Camp Gillette invented the first disposable razor blade.
Here, my good man, buy one of my safe disposable razors. Shaving your beard will be such a breeze, you'll do it every day.
Barely cut myself at all.
The razors were relatively cheap, but you'd have to keep rebuying new blades.
Refills cost extra, and you'll need a new one every few weeks for the rest of your life.
But wait, there's more.
There is?
Oh, yeah. Gillette's real scam wasn't getting people hooked on his replacement products. It was convincing women that they had to shave too for the first time in history. And that story is
super messed up?
Heck yeah, it is! Up until 1920, most women didn't shave at all. It was so unheard of that when a teen girl cut her leg shaving, it made national news. But all that changed when old King Camp Gillette and the shaving industry started thinking about how to expand the disposable razor business.
Of course, women, the other half of the population.
But since most women don't have beards, the shaving industry had to convince women that they even had body hair that needed shaving. So they whipped up some manipulative advertising. First, ads falsely claimed that in Europe, being hairless was all the rage.
Shaving your underarms is the height of sophistication in, Frankland and Spain, sugar.
Then they pushed the explicit message that women should be ashamed of their armpit hair.
But why would women's magazines let advertisers say this junk to women?
Because that was the whole point.
Bex, this is Rebecca Herzig, the author of Plucked, A History of Hair Removal.
Bex, the reason that these magazines didn't have any scruples about shaming women into shaving in those days was because that was pretty much the whole point of the industry, getting women to buy things. Millions of women around the globe trusted these magazines for advice, especially as more and more young women were moving into cities and living their lives cut off from their families. And publishers exploited that trust, selling it off to advertisers so that they could try to convince women that if only they bought their products, all their problems would be solved.
The awful truth about restaurants is that often the food you order isn't the food you get, especially when it comes to seafood.
I will have the salmon. Yeah, I love salmon.
Oh, what color do you like it?
The color that it naturally is?
In that case, here it is.
Oh my God, that's so gross.
Nearly all farmed salmon actually starts out a sickly gray color.
I just need a change.
In the ocean, wild salmon turn pink because they eat krill, but farmed salmon are fed kibble made of chicken fat, soybeans, and ground up feathers.
My diet is ruining my complexion, but I just can't stop.
Manufacturers then dye the fish pink to make it more appetizing to unwitting consumers.
I love it!
The funny thing is, salmon would actually be a lot cheaper if it weren't dyed, but we just gotta have pink fish.
Huh? No! I was gonna go to school!
Yuck. Well, I'll order wild salmon from now on.
Actually, even when the menu says wild salmon, a lot of the time you're getting farmed salmon, and you just don't know it.
Fine. Tuna.
Oh, don't even get me started on tuna.
Nope.
I said, don't even get me started on tuna.
What's wrong with tuna? It's what I order. I have to know.
Chances are it wasn't tuna. The mislabeling of fish is rampant in the restaurant industry. A study by Oceana found that 59% of the tuna they genetically tested from grocery stores and restaurants wasn't tuna at all. In sushi restaurants, the number was 74%.
Oh, God. What is it? Is it little bugs?
Oh, no, it was just other kinds of fish. Usually a snake mackerel called escalar.
Well, whatever, so long as it tastes good.
Oh yeah, escalar tastes great, and you'll be fine for a few hours. But the flesh of escalar contains waxy deposits that are not easy to digest.
This is so good. I feel so not good.
You'll probably need this. It makes you poop.
Yeah, we got it.
Work your magic, Macy.
Just have to enhance. And enhance. Enhance. Oh, too enhanced. Dehance. The print matches. It couldn't possibly be anyone else.
First of all, enhance isn't a thing. Digital photos have a limited resolution. You can't just yell at a computer to get more detail. And secondly, there is no scientific proof that fingerprints are unique.
Enough, Conover. Everyone knows no two fingerprints are alike. Like snowflakes.
Oh, funny you should say that. In the 1980s, a researcher actually found 2 snowflakes that had precisely the same pattern.
Hey, Dingledork, let's keep it to fingerprints, okay?
Of course, save that for the Christmas episode. The no 2 fingerprints are alike cliche isn't science. It's just something one guy said in 1892.
My name is Sir Francis Galton. I postulate the chances of 2 specific individuals having the same fingerprint is very teeny tiny.
Well, he sounds very respectable.
I also invented eugenics.
Oh, God, get him out of here.
Today, Galton's hunch is common wisdom, and everyone assumes that fingerprint evidence is infallible. But it's not. Take the case of Brandon Mayfield. He was arrested for the Madrid train bombings after the world's top fingerprint experts swore that he was a perfect match for a print found at the scene.
But it wasn't me. I'm an attorney from Oregon. I've never even been to Spain.
Oh, you should go. It's lovely.
But because they believed that fingerprints told no lies, the FBI arrested Mayfield and held him for weeks.
By the way, I'm not the real Brandon. I'm an actor. Hey, let me out of here.
Oh God, society is gonna crumble. People will eat each other. We're gonna have to celebrate 2 Christmases.
Murph, calm down. Divorce isn't scary. In fact, it's a good thing.
Are you serious, dude? Half of all marriages end in divorce.
Oh yeah, that's what everyone says, but it's not actually true. Oh, hey, a dance circle. Properly calculated, divorce rates in the US have never exceeded 41%. And after peaking in the late 70s and early 80s, since then the divorce rate has actually gone down.
So what? Divorce is still awful.
Why do you think that?
Because it means a happy marriage is over.
No, it means a bad marriage is over. And before access to divorce improved in the 70s, people were trapped in those awful relationships.
In the old days, to get a divorce, you often needed both spouses present.
My husband is trying to kill me.
And where is this husband?
Knife shopping.
No dice.
You also needed to establish fault. So if you wanted a boring old amicable divorce, you were forced to lie to a judge.
Who was cruel or inhumane to whom?
Damn. It was me. I attacked him with scissors.
Ah, yes, dice. Divorce horse, do your thing. Let's go!
And this was particularly bad for women because in many states, domestic violence wasn't considered grounds for divorce, so they could become trapped in abusive marriages.
But all that changed in 1969 thanks to Ronald Reagan.
As governor of California, I introduced no-fault divorce, a revolutionary innovation that made it far easier for folks to separate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this marriage!
The concept soon spread to other states and by some estimates reduced cases of female suicide by 20%. That's why divorce rates rose in the 70s, not because society was crumbling, but because divorce was finally available to the people who really needed it.
Sup fam, it's Reaper 666 streaming for you live from the Reef Den. Today we're going old school with a classic. Black Cruncher 3, Bloodpocalypse Rising!
Henry, it's time for lunch.
Dad? Get out!
Wait, what is this? Are you playing violent video games again? You're gonna wind up on the 6 o'clock news.
Don't worry, Dad. The idea that video games cause violent crime is a total myth.
That is disgusting. They're trying to brainwash you into thinking that video games are safe.
Nope, you're the one who's been brainwashed. For as long as video games have existed, they've sent American parents into a frenzy of fear. In 1976, the National Safety Council panicked over the arcade game Death Race, calling these tame little pixels 666.
Actually,
And in the 90s, politicians had a full-scale freak-out about a little game called Mortal Kombat. Democratic Senator Joe Lieberman claimed it taught kids to, quote, enjoy inflicting the most gruesome forms of cruelty.
Real quote unlocked.
But despite these repeated parades of pearl-clutching panic, there's still no actual evidence linking video games to violent crime.
Moral outrage unnecessary.
I don't know. I'm still not convinced.
Well, let's look at the facts. As video game sales in America have spiked, violent crime has actually gone down. And other countries where games are popular have even lower rates of violent crime.
そうだ。日本ではアメリカ人よりもっとゲーム遊ぶけど、拳銃の殺人は96倍少ないよ。これでどうだ？怪獣!
And despite the lazy media narrative connecting mass shootings to video games, multiple studies, including an analysis by the Secret Service, have found that school shooters actually consume significantly lower amounts of violent media in video games than their peers.
So you're saying video games don't have any effect on our kids at all? Not even that game Fork Knife, where you kill people with pickaxes?
It's called Fortnite, Dad. Pickaxe is a harvesting tool.
Well, some studies do show that violent video games can cause a temporary increase in aggressive thoughts and behavior. But those studies are pretty flimsy because they didn't measure anything the average person would actually consider aggression. One study just measured whether or not people who played video games were more likely to feed their opponents hot sauce.
Hey!
And even if these studies had tested real-world acts of aggression, the change in behavior they measured was tiny, just 2% on average. Other studies have shown a similar effect in racing games and even real-life sports.
Dad does rage out whenever I beat him at ping pong.
That's because you play dirty, Henry. Oh, I see it now.
Guys, meet video game researcher and level 30 demon slayer, Dr. Patrick Markey.
Sup, Reaper666? Hope you don't mind, I already defeated that final boss. Blaming video games for real-world violence really took off after the Columbine shooting, and it was an understandable mistake because we all desperately wanted some reason why someone would commit such a horrific act of violence. But today we know video games actually aren't what's to blame.
And yet, politicians across the political spectrum still scapegoat video games. As recently as the 2018 Parkland tragedy, the President of the United States was saying things like,
I'm hearing more and more people say the level of violence on video games is really shaping young people's thoughts.
And reporters parrot this lazy narrative right back. After the Newtown school shooting, it was widely reported that the gunman played video games. But what they left out was that his favorite game, the one he'd play up to 10 hours a day, was Dance Dance Revolution.
The fact is, it's just easier to blame video games than to tackle societal problems that actually impact rates of violence. Things like educational and employment disparities, stigma against seeking mental health treatment, and especially in the case of shootings, access to guns.
Instead, we're wasting time and tax dollars on even more research to try to prove a link between violence and video games that just doesn't exist.
That's right. I'm a video game researcher, and even I think this is a waste of time. And that's why I'm taking a break to beat the next level. Oh man, it's underwater. See you guys.
The truth is, scapegoating and banning violent video games doesn't protect kids. It just distracts us from figuring out what we really need to do to keep people safe.
You're right. Henry, you can play that gut game with supervision.
Okay, Dad. You just gotta narrate everything for the stream.
Let's see what we got. Did you just shove that gun up his... Oh, God.
Juice commercials would have you believe that every sip comes right from the tree.
Right. Orange juice is totally natural. Look, there's a straw right in the orange. It's like I'm drinking straight from the fruit.
Man, you really are gullible.
Yeah?
Even not from concentrate orange juice is just as processed as any other mass market food. Orange juice has an extremely short shelf life, so to stop it from spoiling, manufacturers extract all the oxygen from the juice. But that process also removes all the orange flavor.
It just tastes like sweet.
Right, so manufacturers artificially jam it back in by using flavor packs.
No, that can't be natural.
It's not. The taste that you know as Tropicana, Florida's Natural, or Minute Maid was actually designed in the same lab that makes perfume for Calvin Klein and Dior. Oh, citrusy. The trick is, since the flavor packs are technically made of orange byproducts, they don't have to write artificially flavored on the label. But they are.
Well, if it's all oranges, who cares?
Yeah, flavor packs aren't bad for you, they're just super interesting.
Well, great.
What's bad for you about orange juice is the sugar.
What sugar?
Kind of a strong reaction. You didn't know this? OJ is loaded with it. An 8-ounce glass of Tropicana contains 22 grams of sugar. That's almost as much as a Pepsi, which makes sense since Tropicana is owned by Pepsi.
Okay, you can't ruin cars. The car, represents freedom.
How can they represent freedom when you have no choice in where you buy them? Why is it that if you want a new car, you have to go to one of these awful dealerships? Doesn't that suck?
Yes. I hate haggling. I hate driving from one dealership to the next dealership. I hate dealing with this guy.
Hey, so why do we buy cars this way? Like, why does every dealership only sell one brand of car? What if every business worked like that?
Welcome to Peterman Clancy, serving all your Tom Clancy needs.
I'd like The Hunt for Red October.
Oh, okay. Well, I can offer you a 10-chapter package for $20 a month for 36 months. And would you like to add page strengthening?
Why can't you just go to a car store and buy whatever brand of car you want for a fixed price?
Do you have Toyota Camrys?
Sedans, aisle 6, right next to the Accords.
Oh, I do have coupons for those.
And why can't you buy a car online?
Never mind. It's cheaper on Amazon. Add to cart.
Why isn't that how we buy cars?
Because that would be crazy. I mean, can you imagine such a world? Oh boy, man. This guy, he sure is funny.
No, that would be great. Why can't I do that?
Oh, because these guys got a law passed to stop you. Come on.
Oh, no. Please don't talk about this.
Dealerships aren't owned by the car makers. They're separate businesses. And since the 30s, dealership associations have pressured every state into passing franchise laws that give them a virtual monopoly over new car sales.
That is a beautiful anti-competitive law, Senator. We are gonna make so much money off of this.
These laws actually make it illegal to sell new cars unless you're a car dealership. And if you want to become a dealer, too bad. It's also illegal to open a new dealership in another dealer's territory.
You are operating an unauthorized dealership.
It's not actually that illegal, but you get the idea. And the law also makes it nearly impossible for car makers to shut down dealerships, even when they suck, which means they end up getting passed from father to son like family dynasties.
This talk financing.
Great job, son. Push those leather seats, okay?
Since they have no competition and no oversight, car dealers are free to force you to haggle and treat you like crap.
So it's a lame law. Let's change it.
That'll be tough. 20% of state sales tax revenue comes from car dealerships, which means Grant and his buddies pretty much run the show.
Here you are, Senator.
You own me.
And all these middlemen do is cost you money.
I knew it.
It's estimated that if car manufacturers could sell to consumers directly, every car would be $1,800 cheaper.
That'll be $1,800 to replace.
I hate these guys.
Yeah, but because of dealer franchise laws, you can't avoid them. If you want a new car, you have no choice.
But it's the only way to get around. I need a car.
Yeah, so does everyone. Isn't it kind of weird that a product marketed as the epitome of freedom is totally mandatory? Hell, your government-issued ID is a driver's license.
Oh, that's okay.
Wait, is that formula? No, tell me you're breastfeeding.
Well, I tried, but he kind of was having a hard time latching at the hospital, and the nurse says it was okay if I supplement, so.
Formula is toxic. You have to breastfeed.
Ugh, no way. I hate when people breastfeed in public. Do that at home. Nobody wants to see that.
Excuse me?
Adam, help me. Tell them which one is right.
Oh, no way am I getting in the middle of this.
I heard formula has autism in it.
That's it.
Hi, Miss Murphy.
Hey, Patty.
You're gonna tell a mom where and when she can feed her baby? Get a life. Breastfeeding is normal, natural, and great.
Preach, sister.
And you, how dare you judge how a mom feeds her kid? Formula isn't just healthy and safe, it's a literal lifesaver. Emily, let me show you.
Okay.
Knowledge from a primary source.
Before formula, the only way to feed your baby was to breastfeed. And forget about getting anything else done, because breastfeeding takes 35 hours a week.
What? That's like a full-time job.
And the worst thing is, if you couldn't breastfeed, there weren't any other good options.
My teeth's all tapped. Looks like it's bread soaked in water for you, little spud.
This is a real thing people did. Babies grew up malnourished or died if their moms couldn't breastfeed.
That's horrible.
Then, in 1865, this friggin' Albert Einstein named Justus von Liebig invented baby formula.
Ma'am, your babe shall no longer dine on duck food. Instead, he will dine on science.
Formula allowed women to leave the house or join the workforce, but most importantly, it saved babies' lives.
Look out, world, here we come!
Formula isn't scary, it's a modern miracle.
Okay, but isn't formula just a bunch of chemicals?
Well, yeah, Emily, it is, because literally everything is a bunch of chemicals. Breast milk is also chemicals. The question is whether those chemicals are nutritionally different. And the answer is no. Meet professor and lactation expert Courtney Young.
Hi, Emily.
Hi.
Patty's right. Formula is a safe and nutritionally complete alternative to breast milk for things like IQ, asthma, allergies, eczema. Once you account for income and education, there's almost no difference between breastfeeding and formula feeding. The evidence that breastfeeding makes a difference is just inconclusive.
Oh, yeah. I formula-fed Murph, I breastfed his brother Durf, and they're both idiots.
Ah, Mom, Durf just threw a bocce ball at me.
The fact is, formula feeding is a completely safe and nutritious alternative to breastfeeding. If you want or need to feed your baby formula, do it with confidence.
Wow, thank you.
Thanks, Professor Young.
What about places where they don't have access to clean water?
Good question, Hairball. Mixing contaminated water with formula can be harmful, but if you use clean water and sterilized bottles, it's a completely safe and nutritious option.
Not so fast. I read mommy blogs like for fun, and they say that breastfeeding actually makes your baby love you more because it releases a bonding chemical called oxytocin.
Oh, can I take this one?
Go ahead.
Oxytocin is a hormone that gets released when you do things like hug or cuddle. That's why the media loves to call it the love hormone. But that same hormone is also released when you do things like fire a gun or watch porn. According to a comprehensive review from 2008, there is no convincing support for a connection between breastfeeding and the quality of the mother-infant relationship.
Breastfeeding is a great way to bond with your baby, but it's not the only one. And the fact is, not all women can do it. 15% of moms can't breastfeed, not to mention the parents who foster and adopt. So, the next time someone tries to guilt trip you or any other parent about how they feed their baby, you tell them they can eat my feet.
Thanks, Patty.
Prepare to be dazzled, ladies. This house just came on the market.
Danielle, the energy in here, I can feel it. This is our home.
And outdoor space is always in demand. This place is a great investment.
No, it isn't.
Crap, competition.
Hi.
Oh, hello. Are you looking?
For a place to live, yes, but come to think of it, I probably shouldn't buy. And neither should you. Fact is, a lot of people who shop for homes would actually be better off renting.
What are you talking about? I just got a promotion, and Jen's sound healing practice just got a customer.
Yes, his name is Wolfram.
Right. Buying a house is what you do. It's the American dream.
Ah, yes. For almost a century, Americans have been taught that homeownership is the ultimate middle-class ideal.
Oh, Harold, her very own little castle. Isn't it grand?
Yes, freedom, stability, and no one will know I'm a queer.
Oh! But the fact is, for millions of us, this is a dream that's not worth chasing.
Please, buying a home gives you freedom.
No, it doesn't. When you rent, you can move whenever you want. But after you buy, you're sorta stuck.
Ooh, a job that pays more money? In Hawaii? Sorry, I'm just really tied down right now.
It's even been shown that higher rates of homeownership lead to higher unemployment for exactly this reason.
You're forgetting that owning a home makes financial sense. I am sick of paying rent to some landlord.
Yeah, instead you'll be paying a mortgage to some bank. How is that any different?
Well, let's see. I send you a bill once a month, I kick you out if you don't pay, and I don't fix anything. That's the difference. You're gonna need this when your heater explodes. And I'm gonna use your can considering I own it for the next 30 years.
Often, buying doesn't give you any more stability than renting. You're just paying a different jerk. And for the first few years, you're not even building equity. You're just paying off interest.
Friends, family, we are gathered here today to celebrate the union between Emily and Murph.
Sure we won't have any interruptions.
Don't worry, I took care of Adam.
Well, then it's my distinct honor to unite Emily and Murph in the most holy of traditions.
I object! Nearly all wedding traditions are nothing but pointless and expensive displays of wealth.
Adam, we don't have time for this.
Actually, we do. I budgeted it into the schedule.
No, not this time, okay? My engagement was one thing, but I've been dreaming about this day my whole life. My friends are here. My very traditional family is here.
You're making us proud, son.
Of course, we would have preferred a Catholic priest, but...
This is tradition, Adam. The dress, the ceremony, the cake, it all symbolizes true love.
Nope, those traditions represent one thing: money. In fact, this entire ceremony has been hijacked by a greedy industry looking to make a buck.
But this is the way weddings have always been.
Wrong again. American weddings were once informal affairs held in homes or at community events like barn raisings or corn husking bees.
I hereby pronounce you man and wife. You may now eat the corn.
Nice try, Adam, but that's not a real wedding. She's not even wearing white. That means she's not a virgin.
No, you lout. It means I'm not rich.
Back then, white fabric was almost impossible to clean, so a white dress was only meant to be worn once.
Poor folks can't afford that. We gotta make our dresses last. Brown don't show the dirt.
It wasn't until I, Queen Victoria, wore a white dress to my wedding that other brides began to copy me to show off their wealth. But even then, it was strictly for the well-to-do.
Thinks she's so good in her more than one dress. And her more than one lung.
Even white wedding cakes were all about bragging. White sugar back then was so expensive, it was basically edible bling.
My cake is as white as all my friends.
Well, Emily's wearing a white dress and we're not rich.
Nope, but you're making it rain like you are. And all because of bridal magazines. Meet Vicki Howard. She's the author of Brides Incorporated and an expert in wedding commercialization.
Weddings used to be simple affairs, but then bridal magazines encouraged brides to marry like the wealthy and created a wedding industry of unrelated products like silverware, gifts for the home, and even early wedding gowns.
And they did all this when Americans were at their poorest.
It was the birth of an entire industry, and now the cost of weddings keeps skyrocketing.
Give me that. Listen, people want the finest on their big day, and that comes at a price. It's not like we're cheating people.
Oh no, that's exactly what you're doing. The wedding industry systematically overcharges young couples just because they can. One study found that a majority of flower shops, photographers, and cake shops—
No way, Jose.
—charged more for a wedding than they did for a birthday party of the same size. It's called the wedding tax. Basically, anything Ashley here booked for you is a ripoff.
I have to go count mason jars or something like that.
That's insane. How can they get away with this?
Well, this culture of spending is now so pervasive, if you don't do it, your family will be pissed.
Murph, where are the floral centerpieces? You can't have a wedding without floral centerpieces.
Mom, they were $2 grand extra.
You're breaking your mother's heart.
Tell Ashley to put it on the Discover. Well, maybe going through this whole expensive ordeal together will make us stronger as a couple.
Ooh, sorry, babe. Researchers at Emory University found that the more you spend on your wedding, you're actually more likely to end in divorce.
How do you know that?
This was my bachelorette party.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
But he has a point. I mean, no one we paid to help plan this wedding gives two craps if we stay together or not.
That is not true. I care very deeply about Emily and Smurf. The Discover card was declined. Should I use the Amex?
Main com, Murph. It's your special day. It's your special day. Don't go nuts at your own wedding. Even though you spent.
Is he okay?
Oh, yeah, that's just his think and walk.
No, not today, Conover. Because guess what, buddy? I just figured out your little lesson.
Oh, well, tell me. I love to learn.
A century of advertising has distracted us from what's really important. It's not about the money or the gifts or the thread count of the table runners. It's about love. All this, it's just about you and me declaring our eternal, undying love for each other. That's what weddings used to be about. And that's what I want our wedding to be about too. Because I love you, Emily, and I always will.
Aw, babe, I love you too.
So Adam, you wanna take back that objection?
Oh, gosh, I wish I could, but science says your feelings are almost certain to change. Want me to tell you about it?
Oh, please do! Please do!
All right, people, this is gonna be a while, so let's just start the dinner course and we will finish the ceremony later, okay? Thanks.
Here's a challenge. I want you to believe what I'm about to tell you. Not just hear it, not just understand it, but believe it. It's a fact that you already know to be true, but have never been able to fully accept. And it's this: you are going to die. You, the person listening to me right now, are going to die. It's difficult even to imagine, isn't it? Take a moment and try to picture what it's like to not exist. You can't do it. You're imagining darkness, black. But there will be no black. There will be no color, because there will be no you to perceive it. And your mind recoils from that idea. It's simply unable to conceive of its own non-existence. And so it concludes that it's impossible, that you'll live forever. But you won't. All things end. All motion slows. All heat becomes cold. Life is an eddy in that current of entropy, a brief chemical reaction that lights up the darkness, and then its fuel spent dissipates back to nothing, just like you will. Your body is a marvelous and intricate machine built out of millions of interconnected, fragile systems. And as you age, each begins to slowly but surely deteriorate and break down. When one fails, a doctor may be able to repair it, but at some point, there will be too many interlocking failures to proceed. And like a cascade of dominoes, your joints, your eyes, your heart, your lungs, your memory, your entire body will fail. It will happen. And while it's difficult to hear this truth, it is essential that you accept it, because every second that goes by in which you don't is a second of your precious and finite life that you risk wasting. So I'm going to say it once more, and this time try as hard as you can to believe me. You, yes, you will die, and there is nothing you can do to stop it. How's that?
What the?
Too much?
Yeah, that's a lot for a first date.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't open with it.
Also, what's with the hourglass? Did you just carry that thing around for dramatic effect?
Yeah, and I used it to boil eggs. A little heavy-handed, I know.
Oh, she's here. So I think that Haley might actually maybe for some reason like you. So, ixnay on the death stuff. Just ask her if she's like a cat person or a dog person.
I'm a turtle person.
Just keep it light. You know, tell the truth.
The awful truth.
Ugh, no. Just don't be yourself. Literally be anyone else but yourself.
I can do that.
Good luck. Smile.
Hi.
There you are. Sorry I'm late. I hate when people are late.
Me too. I was the first to arrive at both parties I've attended. Oh, yeah. It's funny, joke.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think they might actually...
Holy crow. Well, I did tell her. And we've reached the end of the video, which means you have two options. Option 1, hit subscribe and never miss another new video from Adam Ruins Everything ever again. Option 2, start reading the comments and weep for humanity.